Check the mic. Check. I think we're good. All right. Hey, everybody. That sounds pretty cheesy. I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. I'm trying to get my shit tight again. March, what is it? March 13th. March 13th. The 1-year anniversary. I had to put my dog down. That's sad, but let's talk about some happy things. My co-host is going to be in here in a second, Mr. Morgan Warren. It's his birthday. I'm going to bring him in right now. There he is. Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday to me, right?
There we go. My cousin's birthday. There's a lot of March birthdays. There's a lot of banging going back on in August throughout whatever year we were born. Yeah, we got a show tonight. We actually have some guests. We got a guest who hasn't ever been on, who I've been wanting to get on forever. I've known this dude for a long time, and a lot of you guys will recognize him. And we got another guest who we haven't had on in a long time, and he's got some up-and-coming activities and things. If you read the Instagram machine, you know what I'm talking about. So we're gonna get right into this. I know I put a rant out on Instagram as I do when I'm mad. The main conversation point tonight, we're gonna talk about the 10-year anniversary of Canada / ISAF's withdrawal from Afghanistan. Canada withdrew from Afghanistan on 11 March 2014. We're gonna talk about that. I don't want to get into it too much, but before I bring in my first guest, I have a clip to play. You may have seen this before, and I've said this before. This is not a political show. We don't get into politics. But in this case, we kind of do. I couldn't resist it. So just sit back. The video it's weird, doesn't sync up with the audio very much, but it doesn't matter. Most of you guys consume this through audio. So you might recognize this. I know my next guest is going to go, are you fucking kidding me? Are we not done with that? I'm like, no, we'll never be done with that. So just have a quick look and a quick listen, and then I will bring in my first guest.
2015, you made the promise, and I'll quote it here, no veteran will be forced to fight their own government for the support and compensation they have earned. Yet you are still currently in a legal battle with veterans regarding equal support and compensation to their peers. You have ISIL or ISIS members coming into a reintegration program. You did a backdoor deal with Omar Khadr with not even stepping into the courtroom. So again, my question is, what veterans were you talking about? Was it the ones that fought for the freedoms and values that you so proudly boast about, or was it the ones who fought against? Because honestly, Mr. Prime Minister, I was prepared to be injured in the line of duty when I joined the military. Nobody forced me to join the military. I was prepared to be killed in action. What I wasn't prepared for, Mr. Prime Minister, is Canada turning its back on me. So which veteran was it that you were talking about?
Why are we still fighting against certain veterans groups in court? Because they're asking for more than we are able to give right now. They are asking for more than we... Well, no, hang on. You're asking for honest answers. The old Veterans Charter involved...
All right, we're not going to run. I've never been prouder of this fine gentleman that's coming on next. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, and it's been way too long to get him on the show. He's probably fucking done this 28 times. I've known him for, 12 years, something like that. The great and powerful Mr. Brock Blaszczyk. Hey,
what's going on? Thanks for the introduction, I guess.
I had to do it. Come on. I know it's been beat to death, but I'm like, fuck that. I'm playing that.
It's still big in the military circle, so I guess that's the important
period. Big period. I was just like, nailed him to the wall, man.
It worked out really well. I wasn't expecting it to turn out that good.
Everybody was taking their T1 tax returns, writing them. Sorry, you're asking for more than I could give, and mailing them back to the fucking CRA, going, "Fuck you, man." Oh man,
how well did that work out?
Yeah.
Yep. That was epic. Epic.
It was.
performance.
I mean, that's an understatement of the century. Just the timing, the place. I mean, the person. I mean, I think just coming from you, Brock, it was just it was that much more, right? So,
Well, I wasn't saying anything different that nobody said before. I think the big thing is that people could see my injuries, right?
Yes.
Once I pull up my pant leg and pull up my sleeves, you could see everything.
We got viewers in the house. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
and then
okay,
Brock-
let's rewind, Brock, because we might have some people, and this isn't just give them the Coles Notes version of what happened, right? Because you and I are gonna do a sit down to explain this. So I've known Brock a long time. I'll let him tell his story.
Since tour, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, since fucking
Yeah.
tour, right? Since 309.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Brock the mic here. Just give everybody a quick thumbnail so they understand the context of that discussion at that town hall meeting. So I'll let you tell your the short version. You've told your story 1,000 times. I get it. Just let people hear it.
I thought it just I'm known as the asking too much veteran, I guess.
Yeah, but tell
honestly,
me what happened. What happened in
well,
Afghanistan?
what happened? You want to go on with Afghanistan? Okay, gotcha.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, so I was on tour with you for Task Force 309, which was a big bomb tour. There was a lot of bombs at that one. And I was posted with Delta Company, and we were down in an area called Mackinac, which was just kind of in this weird area in between Dan. Was it Dan and well, not Passionable.
Andrew?
Panjway, yeah.
Dan. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it was down by Dan and Panjway. It was in that little horn.
Great pomegranate.
So yeah, basically. But yeah, actually, I remember first showing up on the ground, and you were the EOD warrant giving us our briefing, and basically, I remember you asking us, "All right, who's in Delta Company? Who's all going to Mackinac?" And there was a bunch of us that put up our hands, and then he showed the map, basically all the ID strikes in the area. He was like, "You guys are going to have a fun tour."
I don't think I said it like that.
Pretty much.
Words to that effect.
Yeah.
Words to that effect, and a little more colorful, I guess. But yeah, that was actually the first time I ever met you. Was actually when you did that EOD brief.
That's like 2009.
Yeah, fucking long, almost 20 years, man. We're on what, 14 years? Yeah, 14 years.
15 years ago, yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. So and then tour went on, and then I was about 3 weeks left from my my rip date, and I stepped on
no, you didn't step
on an
on
ID.
It. They don't work that way. You were attacked by it. You were attacked by it. You step on a banana peel. IEDs are placed purposely to attack you.
Man, I just wanted to go home early. It was hot that day, bro.
Scammer, right?
So I don't have cool imagery, but Brock, he lost his lower left leg, blown right off. His right leg's still fucked up to this day. And how many times did you die between Kandahar and Edmonton?
I think they said 4 times or something like that.
4 times. Died 4 times.
I like 3 up Jesus.
There you go. Did you see a bright light?
I don't think so. I had this weird dream that I was like that the IED was just all a bad dream, and then we were at the boardwalk and we were getting ready to go home, and then the medics jumped me. So, but like that was it. That was my world beyond or whatever.
Yeah. You ran into some medics, so that's what's on the other side. Medics.
Well, yeah, medics. What I think it was, though, actually, apparently, when they tried pulling me out of sedation a couple times in Germany, I guess I went into fight mode and I fought off some nurses. I guess I don't know.
I could see that. I could see.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So there you go. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, watching or listening. And I will get to the chat in a bit. I'm blind. I can't see it, so I'll try my best. But
man who's big dog the prime minister.
Brock Blaszczyk shit all over Trudeau and put him just embarrassed him, fucking outclassed him.
Yeah.
And there's a real Canadian hero right there.
Yeah.
Was willing to and did give some body parts up so that you can enjoy the
Occupational hazard, bro.
occupational hazard, the freedoms you enjoyed today.
Bad
And
day
all
at the office. That's
all
it.
that good stuff. And we'll get into that more in a bit. Right now, I want to bring in our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Al Cameron from Veteran Voices Canada, live from his truck on the side of the road. Al, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, guys. How you all doing?
We're doing great. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
So
I'm
what's
in some pretty esteemed company here. I don't even know what you want me here for. I mean, look at you guys. What, I don't know what I'm doing.
Why I want you here. Because so everybody understands. Let me let the cat out of the bag again. For those watching and listening, we are discussing Canada's withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2014, which really isn't. That's a catalyst to the topic. I'm gonna put it out there, and we'll talk about it in a minute because I really want to speak to what Al is doing is raises a ton of awareness, not just about Afghanistan. He's a massive supporter of the military. We're going to talk about Flags of Remembrance coming up, which I have right behind me, by the way. Thank you very much. And going back from how far back does that go? Like the Boer War, Al?
Boer War to current missions. Yeah,
that's exactly what I thought, right? So you got a guy like this on his own time, raising as much money as he can through donations and everything to promote awareness and everything. And my biggest disgruntlement, if you watch my Instagram video a few days ago, was the complete lack of effort to discuss it, because I believe that Canadians don't want to talk about war, but we're going to come to that in a minute. Right now, Al, this is your opportunity. Talk to me about what you got going on, what's coming up. I know Flags of Remembrance is rebooting again, and spit it out. Plug the shit out of whatever you want right now. Now's your window, and I'm going to be working with you because I know you need some support on the interview thing, and I'll come do an interview with you. We've talked about it. I haven't done one yet, so whenever you're ready.
That sounds great. Thanks again for that. Basically, again, I'm a big supporter. I've always been a big history buff for one. A supporter of the military, but specifically a supporter of those who serve. So I want to make sure that we document and give the exposure to our history makers, which is you guys. That's what I do. I honor our veterans by historical documentation, tributes across Canada throughout the year. Then the way I look at it is what I'm doing. There's so many different advocacy groups and advocacies, and what's so important for veterans. You've got PTSD support, you've got food support, you've got financial support, and I touch a little bit on each of those. But the main thing that we do, there's those different categories. My category, the way we honor you guys and the older guys and gals, the not so young, is by documenting their stories and making sure that people are aware of our history, but more importantly, aware of the history makers. And again, that's you guys. So that's what I do. I've been doing this. Next year will be 20 years. It's been a long time, and I can see a lot of wrinkles on my face for every one of those years, let me tell you. But I've met some amazing people throughout this whole experience, this whole journey, including, I've interviewed Brock about, 3 years ago now, I guess Brock it was. Brock's been just a huge supporter of what I do. I mean, I can't. Brock told his story. You told his story. I mean, I'm getting emotional just talking about it. But to have guys like you supporting what I do and talk me up the way you guys do, it blows me away and friggin' humbles me, man. It really does.
Well, nobody tells their stories, man. How is anybody going to know?
Exactly right. Exactly. Right.
And that's Brock. That's a great point, because we don't want to tell our fucking stories.
No, not outside of our own circles anyway.
Yeah,
we need somebody like you to you're almost kind of the glue that's going to kind of bring it all together.
Which is, and I don't mean that in a negative way. That's a thing we're managing as veterans. Yeah. We need guys like what Al Cameron is doing.
Absolutely.
Veterans Voices Canada, because some of us just can't articulate it or don't want to, like, it's just too much. So you got a guy like Al who knows how to manage that, and I've seen the interviews you've done with a lot of dudes, and you really help them at ease and like get the story out and not rush it and shit. It's a big deal. So thank you for what you do, man, because fuck, Who the hell else is going to do it? I don't know. The fucking government's not going to do it. We're going to get to that in a bit, but not right now. Right now, you still have the floor.
The big thing, I'm going to touch on that a bit. I find it's taken a lot of organizations or people like myself are doing exactly what, and not to get political and governmental here, but
No,
there's
we
a
don't
lot
do
of
that
stuff
here.
that exactly. But there's a lot of things that are happening that are happening right now and being done by individuals or organizations. We're taking up the governmental slack. Like there's a lot of this that should be done, should be sponsored and funded by governments for one thing, but it takes people to make it happen. And there's still so much more out there to be done and to do. It just
You're
takes
absolutely
somebody
correct.
to step up and do, right?
You're absolutely correct. The guys like you and guys like me doing this show with Morgan and whatever are picking up where they fall down. Right? Like where the government fails. It's not necessary. Well, fuck it is. I don't want. So
Well,
this is not a shit on the government show. Believe me, it's not. But
it's like you're
no. Hang on, just hear me out.
We're all jumping in here now because
I'm going to shit on societal failings and Canadian attitude, but we're going to come to that. So before we jump to that, I'm going to put all the contact info you guys need for Veteran Voices Canada, all Al's initiatives. I will add it to the YouTube link later when this stuff's done, right? But Al, explain to people what Flags of Remembrance is, and if you don't know, I happen to be fortunate enough. Hang on.
Are we going to do graphics? Oh
yeah, no, fuck. I'm suck at graphics. I'm not doing that. So one thing I'm not doing on this show is I'm ever going to post like news clips and crap. You guys can all read the news. You don't need that. You're here to hear conversation. So this is a Flag of Remembrance thing. So Al, I'll let you kind of break down where this came from, how it started, and this year's initiative.
And this year will be the 10-year anniversary for Flags of Remembrance as well, which is just, again, crazy because the years are flying by.
Yeah,
but basically, it's just crazy. But basically, I started it 10 years ago. I had come to an idea where every day I was driving from Sylvan Lake to Red Deer, all of these open fields, and I'm big on history and honoring and giving tribute. So I'm seeing this big empty field. It's like, that's missing something. What can I do to make people more aware of service and sacrifice? And I did the research. Approximately 128,000 Canadians killed and missing in action from Boer War right to Afghanistan, and current services as well. So I thought maybe we'll do 1,000 flags. That's not going to work. So 128 flags are each representing 1,000 killed and missing in action from the Boer War to current missions. And the crazy thing about it is that would have been October 2014. And I prepped this 3 months ahead of time. So I'm going to do this Friday morning. People go to work. They don't see anything. They come back and they see all these flags flying and wonder what the hell's going on. This is what's going on. They represent those 128,000. But the real crazy and coincidental thing about it is a sad coincidence. That Monday before the Friday is when Warrant Officer Patrice Vincent was taken down in Quebec, run down in a grocery store parking lot.
Yeah.
Domestic terrorism is what it was, I guess. It was. And then that following Wednesday is when Nathan Cirillo was taken down to the monument.
Yeah.
So
Tomb of the Unknown Soldier standing on rest on arms reverse.
Exactly. And so
well, fucking hey man, they're a terrorist. What are you laughing at? There's terrorists in this country. Buddy's on rest. Like
arms rest in reverse. What?
Whatever. Rest on arms reverse. That's what he was on, right?
Is that what the order is?
Yeah, it's when your muzzle of your rifle is on the ground.
Oh, is that what it actually is? Oh, okay.
Did you guys do? Did you fucking do drill in the 1st Battalion? Do you not?
All my shit was to do with killing, man. I didn't stay in long enough to actually do this honky pony show that they do now, bro.
No, that's what those guys were doing. Rest on arms.
I don't even know any regimental hymns. I don't even memorize my coin number. Okay, I'm like the worst troop ever. I was just there to kill. That was it.
I don't think they're hymns. I think it's history. Anyways.
Anyways,
Where the fuck were we?
Sorry, Al.
Sorry, Al.
And no, it's all good. Laughter is contagious, so
He's
it's
been
all.
smoking
It's not.
some dope. We do this. We laugh all the time, even in the face of like our own brothers' deaths. We find humor somehow.
true.
Well, you guys have an amazing sense of humor. Let me tell you, and I know that from Brock. Me and Brock talk a lot, and I mean, the sense of humor is necessary. I think with everything, right?
It's got to be. It's
But
what gets you through.
it does. And just quickly to get back, so that all happened on the Monday and Wednesday. Friday, we put the
Yeah.
flags up, and everyone assumed, and it indirectly was to do with Nathan and Patrice. Those were amongst the 128,000. So the unbelievable outpouring of support that I got when that happened just said, this has got to be happening every year. So that's what happens. People were donating, which I'm a nonprofit organization, so I appreciated the donations. But I thought I've got to do something. I've got to do something better. And again, and that's where the plaques of honor that you've got came into play. The idea is for get to the remembrance. Remembrance isn't just one day, 1 week, 1 month of the year. So what I started doing was I wanted to make this flag so remembrance happen a couple of the months before Remembrance Day, so people could walk the flag lines, read those plaques, read those names that people wouldn't necessarily ever have heard of these people. That's the idea of it. And it turned into an annual amazing tribute, and it turned into a fundraiser for Veterans Voices of Canada as well. And it's our main fundraiser every year. So that's the gist of it.
And I think it's outstanding. And that's kicking off now based on what I've seen on your socials, right?
It is. Yeah, we do 128 plaques. 128 people are honored every year through these plaques. So there's only 128 per site.
And you're looking for nominations right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're happening right now.
Okay.
And you can go to the website, or you can contact us, and you can put up the email or info@vetvoicecan.org. That's the email address.
Yep. And I will put all that stuff in the link below, as they say on YouTube. Once we're all wrapped up here, I'll make sure that all that stuff's in there. So you guys, anybody that wants to support Al and his cause, all the contact info is there, and you can find him on. I know you're on Instagram. I don't know if you're on Twitter or Facebook. Probably.
I am on Twitter and Facebook. Yeah, and just real quick, these sponsorships and the support, what it helps. This is what I do all year round, 365 days a year. This is what we do. So I've got the Flags of Remembrance happens, and I've sat with over 2,000 World War II veterans, 2 Afghanistan veterans, and everyone in between, and documented those stories on camera since I started this 20 years ago. And I've got a history, interest, and learning center going on now in Parkland Mall, actually in Red Deer, and where I've got a pretty cool Afghanistan. I won't say cool, a very interesting Afghanistan memorial there, with the flag and all those names of all those 158 killed in Afghanistan, and Andrew Duran, who was killed in Iraq. They're all named on that flag. So I get a lot of people coming in, and we'll talk on that in a minute. You're going to go to it. So.
Oh, for sure. So if you get a chance, if you're passing through Red Deer, if you're in the Alberta area, between Calgary and Edmonton, stop in Parkland Mall, it's the north side on Gates Avenue, and go check it out, because it's an amazing setup. Right on.
It's important.
Thank you for what you do, Al.
Yeah, thank you, Al. I can't thank you enough. Okay,
you guys.
We're gonna get into my anger now, but I'm gonna go last. So, because there's a lot of ground to cover here, and that's why I wanted differing opinions, not just me going off, because I go off a lot, right? So, the Canadian Armed Forces withdrew from Afghanistan on 11 March 2014. Don't have a problem with that. That's not my problem. And what we did there I don't have a problem with that either. What happened with the Taliban taking over the country in a week, I don't give a fuck about that either. What makes me mad, we're going to go around the horn here, everybody gets to weigh in, is the complete, what's the word I'm looking for? Good God, help me out. It was just
amnesia?
Fuck.
Amnesia?
No, I don't have amnesia.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about like the whole country.
Okay. So first of all, it started with this very unceremonious ceremony, and what's Buddy's name from I don't read a lot of news either, but there's a good guy, even though he's a CBC guy, he's been covering the military shit for a long time. not Iveson. There's another guy. And he just shit all over it. Said it was just like, Wayne Eyre, who's the CDS, fucking has the shittiest job in the Canadian Armed Forces. And no wonder he's retiring. Like, you don't want to be the CDS. It's the worst job in the military right now.
I don't even think you wanted to be the CDS to begin with.
Probably not. It's like, oh, fuck me. I'm up next. Short straw. I guess I'm up, right? It's a shit job. Because of, again, I'm not going to get into the political crap. Anyway, it was a small ceremony. Very unrepresented. Even like when I was looking at the news feeds to support it, there was very little about it. And okay, that's okay. My biggest issue is what makes me mad is the adversity of our governments and the populace follows on with it is to recognize conflict and Canadian contribution to conflicts. Like, remember, say we go out and it's the bulk of it's about World War II and how we got to this, and everything else, including Korea, is like a fucking footnote because people don't want to know about conflict. It's okay to watch about the shit going on in Israel, like the whole Gaza thing. It's okay to watch the Russia-Ukraine thing because it's not us. But when it's us, people don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about Korea. They don't want to talk about the Medak pocket in Croatia, right? And what happened down there and what the guys did there. They don't want to talk about Afghanistan. It's like, that's fucking 14 years ago. We don't want to get into that stuff. They want to live in their little bubble. And that's what pisses me off. And I'm not saying that the government or society needs to embrace war. What I'm saying is you've lived in this bubble of protection because you've never experienced conflict on your own territory ever in the history of generations. But war is real, and we are actually in a world war right now. It's just by proxy, and people need to accept that. And I said that on another radio show another podcast a week and a half ago. So we are in World War III now. Okay, and if you don't know that, you better figure it out because right now it's a proxy war between Ukraine and Russia.
Cold War 2.0.
Cold War 2.0, but it's like fucking not good. So my irritation was just with how it's managed. Now, if you want to get into the 10-year gap between the ISAF / Canadian, ISAF withdrawal from Afghanistan, that's one thing. We're going to go around the horn. I just want just general thoughts, and I guess Morgan, you're top right, so I'm going to start with you. What do you give me some? What's going through your brain when you heard? Oh, it's been 10 years. Give me some thoughts. You're on mute.
Yeah, I was on mute. Sorry about that. To kind of dovetail what you were saying. Like I said, Remembrance Day pretty much, starts with World War I and ends with World War II.
And you get an honorable mention.
Yeah, not even. I'd say like 70 years later, like the Korea vets get an honorable mention finally.
Yeah, they got fucked hard.
Yeah, but we're not even at honorable mention stage yet. Like we're essentially modern day Vietnam vets. Like the everything is so backwards now. Like, Second World War, you had the Allies and you had the Axis, the Nazis. You had good versus evil, black and white. But now you'll see people that are like, maybe Osama bin Laden wasn't such a bad dude. Like these are the conversations that you see happening. So maybe we were the bad guys, right? So this is a conversation because it's not black and white. So quite frankly, people don't give a shit about us, and we are the modern day Vietnam vets. And I know plenty of Vietnam vets south of the border, and that's they feel like they've been forgotten about. Nobody gives a shit about them because they've been forgotten about, and the vast majority of people, don't give a shit about them. And,
well, it's because it's wars that no one wants.
Yeah, fair enough, but that's not our fault. The boots on the ground.
Go where we're told.
And it's just my opinion, obviously, and I may sound kind of aggravated, but
that's the whole point here. I want to get a lot of different opinions. I'll go last, and I want Al as an outsider looking in to weigh on what he thinks and the people he rolls with. So,
Brock jokingly said, it's what'd you say? Occupational hazard. Like I never joined the army looking for praise or looking for anything like that. But if someone's going to be like, well, how do you think, like, you know, Afghan vets are viewed, and in the United States, like Iraq vets are viewed? I'm like, I don't think people, I don't think it's viewed very well, and I think it's something that most people want to forget about at the end of the day. I mean, it's just my opinion, but I just don't think that anybody cares about us, because they don't. I guess one more thing. The last thing I'll say is, like you said about this whatever reporter it was said there was an absolutely pitiful ceremony.
Well, I didn't say pitiful. I just said it was very unceremonious. It was like
very,
a fucking
whatever, same
afterthought,
thing.
right?
Fucking pitiful, unceremonious. Do you remember when the Afghan memorial kind of came back? Where was it? It was inside of NDHQ, where the general public couldn't even see.
Can't even go. Yeah,
It's still
Can't
there.
even go.
It's
You know,
still
so
there.
why it's like a dirty little secret that nobody wants to talk about. So I mean that, right? I mean, if perception is reality, well, buddy, like it's something that nobody cares about, and it's something that the government and this country to some degree wants to forget about. They did, and look, they've done it to the Afghan vets, they've done it to the Iraq vets, they've done it to the, you know, all the boys that were in the Balkans, you know, and look at the Korea vets, same thing. So
well, that's because
it comes as no surprise.
We haven't won a war since World War II.
You're
including
right.
the United States, including the United States.
That's
We
the
haven't
point I was
won.
gonna
We
make.
haven't won a war since World War II.
Yes, and why is that, Chris? Because we
Well,
haven't been
fucking-
because we
save
haven't
that
been
for-
willing to commit to
That's
a
a
fucking
different.
war.
That's a different show. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole tonight. But you are right. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
We don't. It's totally different.
Because we care about
Warfare-
hearts and minds, not winning. That's why.
Okay. All right. Got it. So you're clearly happy.
Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm good. That's just
Okay.
that's my opinion, right?
Okay, Brock. Initial thoughts. I'm going to get into specific
Well,
questions.
that pretty much, it's a bunch of different layers, man.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a bunch of different layers. You know, it really opens up to my point that I was going to make. You know, people only like winners.
Hey, we're all
that-
winners, bro.
Well,
gonna-
we
I
are,
gotta-
yeah.
I'm plugging
But
a
that's the
sponsor
thing.
while you're
Like we
talking about
haven't,
winning.
like you said, we haven't won a war since World War II.
Nope.
You know, really, if you know, for the things not to go back to the same, or the objective of not to happen. You know, but you know, and it wasn't anything really militarily we did. You know, it was a lot of political failure from the beginning. You know, one of Sun Tzu's #1 rule: you don't go into a war without a plan. You
You're not
know,
wrong.
did
I
you
just
know what
pulled
our
a,
objective was? What was our objective? You guys were both senior dudes. I had no fucking clue.
I'll
I was just
answer that.
wandering around, man.
I'll answer that question. But before I do that, here's a shout out to one of my sponsors, Positive Mike's. St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and this is the For Crying Stout Loud. So we'll see if it works for my guts. Now, to answer your question, I didn't give a shit about anything other than getting everybody home 10 fingers, 10 toes.
Well, and that's
there
what
was
it be-
no
that-
there was never a clear mission statement.
No, and that's the other layer. You know, at the end of the day, it really just became down to the fact that my buddies was going to war, and I didn't want to go without them.
Yeah, it was
You know.
like on the ground. It was like, okay, it was like on a per op basis.
Yeah,
There wasn't like a. Anyway,
there wasn't a
fuck.
clear vision from the
You're gonna
start.
don't drag me into that political bullshit
Oh.
rabbit hole. Let's stay in the fuck out of that.
No, but you know, on the other flip side of the sword, you know, it wasn't like troop wise. You know, I'm proud of being in Afghanistan. I'm proud
should
of being the one of, you know, 40,000. You know, even less with actual combat troops.
Yep.
You know, even less of dudes actually being blown up and coming back like Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Easter's
you
your
know,
fucking special day coming up, man.
oh yeah, man, Zombie
Oh.
Jesus Day, bro.
And you should be proud and like yeah. So
You know, it's but you know, but here's the thing: there's a lot of things we got to come to terms with. You know, and I think and it goes down to not a lot of people serve. You know, and if people aren't directly affected by it, they don't give a fuck.
well, less than 1% of the population, it's about 0.22 by my last math,
Yeah.
serves in the Canadian Armed Forces. So
Yeah, and then you look at those numbers to World War II or World War One. Damn near every family was affected by it.
100%, but very different scale. Very different scale, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's funny, like the least amount of guys, but Afghanistan was Canada's longest sustained war ever.
Well, and it was the first full volunteer. That was actually a war.
Well, we never had conscription, but yeah.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, but Korea the last time was war. They had conscription.
War. Is that a term?
Well, technically, Korea wasn't
It is
a
now.
war. It was a police action, which is kind of why they got fucked over.
Wasn't it fucking UN op? I don't know.
It wasn't a war.
It was UN op. It went sideways quickly.
Okay, yeah,
Well,
probably.
speaking of UN ops, it went sideways. I apologize.
Ain't that like every UN op?
Any Somali vets that are out there. I also miss Somalia. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about Rwanda. So we'll add those into the pile outside of Bosnia, Croatia, fucking Afghanistan. Yeah. Anyway, Al, as a guy looking in, what are your thoughts on this broadband conversation we're having? It lacks any specifics, but we'll get to some in a bit.
Well, the first thing is I'm not having a brew. I'm having a coffee, and I am proud of you guys. I'm not saying it because I'm half anywhere. I'm proud of you guys. So thanks to you guys for your service. But I'll tell you what. Like speaking from, I'll talk about the center, the museum that I've got right now.
Yeah.
When you walk into the museum on the right hand side. There's that. I've got a huge flag. It's 20 feet by 16 feet. It's got every one of the names of those who served and sacrificed in Afghanistan. And Andrew Doran, again, who was killed in Iraq. And I walk by that every day, and I look at it every day, and it's like, it just blows me away, that sacrifice. I've got a lot of people who come in they ask me what that is, and I tell them exactly what it is, and they stand there for a couple of minutes and read those names. I've got a lot of Afghanistan veterans who come in, and I don't even know they're Afghanistan veterans right off the top, but I watch and I can pretty much pick them out.
Yeah.
And they stand there for a couple of minutes. They don't say much. A couple of guys and a couple of gals teared up as they're standing there. I watched it, and they shake their head and they leave. So you know what's going on in their minds. I've got an idea of what's going on in their minds, exactly what we're talking about here right now. You talked about the similarities to the Vietnam War. I mean, 10,000 day war, 10-year war. Vietnam was 10 years, Afghanistan 10 years. So there's a pretty big similarity there as well. But for me, guys, I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of people who do appreciate you guys and gals who've done it. I've talked to people every day, and they're frustrated with the lack of support that a certain level gives veterans. And the cool thing about what we've got going on there is there's a lot more people learning about not only what you guys did, but what all our service people did. And I think our educational system is lacking right now supremely to let people know and to inform people what you guys did. I mean, there's 10, 11, 12-year-olds who come in and who are talking about the Afghanistan, the experience,
Yeah.
the time in Afghanistan with you guys, and they look at the other stuff as well. But there's no education in the school system right now as far as not just the battles, not just the wars, not just the history.
No, just general military history is not a thing that is in any provincial educational curriculum. Doesn't exist.
And these kids are craving it. They're craving it. And a lot of them talk about their granddads fighting in Afghanistan.
Wow.
Fuck right. I know.
Oh,
shit,
boy.
Man.
You are, guys. You are.
Oh,
I guess that's true. My granddad was in Afghanistan. Like, fucking what? Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who do get it, who do appreciate, and who do understand the sacrifices that you guys made in Afghanistan.
Well,
there's a certain level and a certain number that don't, but there's a lot more. I think a lot more than you think appreciate you guys. So keep that in mind, guys. You're not
No,
you're not forgotten by any means. You're not.
you're
No,
right.
you're not.
Like every remember saying, Morgan, we just did it last year. There's a friend of mine who's a school teacher, and I do a video, a recorded version of this, and we basically it's a different grade every year. You know, it's like grade 5, grade 6 kids, grade 10 kids, whatever. And I let them write a whole block of questions and point blank, right? You're not asking the government who's going to go through screening through public affairs. Ask your questions point blank. They send them in, and then I record a video. Morgan, you and me did that, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
we do it every year.
and we do it every year. And I send it back, and those kids are glued to that TV for that 30, 40-minute block. And I answer them, point blank. That's probably the only time I'm on video for 40 minutes and I don't swear. It's unbelievable. So
we also don't do it live. You kind of edit it, so we probably do swear a lot.
I cut a couple things out, but I try to keep it organic and tell them the truth. So Al, you're not wrong. One of the things I want to address right away that I think we've touched on it, and I'll lead this one and then let it go around the horn again. Is the total withdrawal was a shit show plan. Didn't work out very well. The Taliban took over in a week, and I know a lot of guys and girls are struggling with that they feel that everything we did is all for naught. And maybe I'm going to go big for a second. Let me explain this to you. If you're watching this or you're listening to this later and you're an Afghan vet who's having a hard time because of you think that all of our efforts were for naught, you're wrong. And I'll tell you why you're wrong. We gave them, the people of Afghanistan, pretty much 20 years, which is a generation and change of the freedom that they didn't have under the previous regime, and they no longer have under the current regime, which is the Taliban. I'll tell you right now, you gave women who never had an opportunity to go to school, kids opportunities they never had before, and we trained over 60,000 members of the Afghan National Army. If they fucking let that go and threw it away in a week, that's on them, not me. Not me, and not any of the other 40,000 members that ever rotated in and out of that country. We did our part. We did our best. We trained you. We equipped you. Did we do it, maybe necessarily the best way? Probably not. We probably fucked up when we trained you. But at the end of the day, it's like, listen, live on your knees or die on your feet. You pick, because if you're starving right now in that country, it's on you. We gave you 20 years. That's more than many other countries who've gotten support from dictators and tyranny have ever had. So I personally have I'm not upset about what happened. Is it irritating? Yeah, it's irritating because they failed to defend their country. The first guy to fuck off was the president. So right on. We've covered this before. So that's my feelings. I'm just saying, you don't feel bad about what happened, because you did your best to help that country get to where it was, and they had a 20-year window to figure it out, and they fucking lost it in a week. That's on them, not us. And that's my last words on that. Morgan.
I guess I agree with you, Chris. I mean, none of those aren't things that bother me. It is what it is, right? And
yeah, no, not an easy conversation. I get it.
No, well, it's not an easy conversation. It's just, it just doesn't. Those things don't really bother me, and everything. Everything affects everybody differently, and that's why, like, you'll see Afghan vets that that were in Afghanistan, that were in on the airfield, and never left the airfield with much worse PTSD than, say, a guy like Brock. And because everything affects everybody differently, like you said, the shit show withdrawal and how everything went down, and the fact that we didn't have, you know, a clear vision of what the hell we were doing, like that wasn't on us. Like, I mean, we definitely won the battles. I mean, did we lose the war? Yeah, 100% we did. I was like, but once again, that's not on us. That's on like the bullshit politicians who couldn't get their shit together and let us, you know, and cut us loose and let us do our goddamn jobs.
Yeah.
Right.
No, 100%.
Maybe, you know, maybe there'd be, you know, less PTSD if you actually let us do our goddamn jobs and destroy that fucking place and everybody in it. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Brock, give us your thoughts.
I don't know, man. Like, I didn't go there to be, you know, the fucking scorch earth or anything like that. You know, that's kind of what got me into the Army, was believing in that mission, because I joined halfway through the war. I was in grade 7 when the war started.
Jesus.
You know, yeah. Yeah. So, like, I joined halfway through. Like, I knew I was going, you know, but I don't know, like, you know, the idea of, like, stopping little girls being treated like cattle and everything like that. Yeah, the idea was there, you know, the execution wasn't, you know, and that wasn't on the military side of things. The military isn't there to build, you know, societies. That's not what we're there for. We're there to bring the fucking hammer.
Yeah, bring the hammer, but you provide the stability to allow those
well, that's just one of the key things in society is security, right? It's one of the big things. That's always the major thing that's always developed.
Those NGOs or you know, organizations that do that. That's one of the things we did in parallel. While you're out getting it on, killing bad guys, you're keeping them from disrupting the whole.
Well, it's always reconstruction. Yeah, right? But it's always the key to civilization. Like, even that's why when civilizations was created, armies were shortly thereafter. You know, after they started building giant cities and having giant fields and wanting to protect property.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
Like, I'll tell you guys, I have this theory. Like, if I was an alien on Recce, so imagine you're like call sign 6 Recce alien guy. You show up at Earth and you look down. You got to fucking send in a Recce report back to the Alpha 39866 fucking planet you're from. Here's what mine would say. These guys are fucked. We should keep going. That's the first thing I'd say. So number 2, they've got people who have no fucking homes. They got people that are starving, but they spend billions and billions of dollars trying to figure out how to kill each other. And that's fact. That's what we do. We're fucked.
We're really good at it.
We're really good at figuring out how to kill each other. Like, it's like, oh man, this planet's fucked.
But that's the thing, though.
If I was an alien, keep going. This place is fucked.
Yeah, but it's the duality of life, man. You know, for every bad guy, you need a good guy willing to stand up against him.
Oh, and I agree. And I fucking love every goddamn day I spend in the fucking military. And I love fucking up bad guys. I really do. But when you stop and think about it, like, we can't take care of basic fucking shit in our own. And I'm not a fucking lefty hippie guy going off and stuff, but I believe in that stuff. It's like, you know, you want to take care of your own people first, fine, do it. But, you know, you spend gazillions of dollars fucking.
Yeah, but that's the political realm.
Gazillions of dollars to figure out how to kill each other. It's just
that's the political realm, Chris. The political realm isn't the real world, bro.
Well, I know, because we navigate
the real world.
We dog paddle through that space, and I've seen it, man. I've done 4 deployments, and it's like, what the fuck? And what was the point of any of them? Fucking who knows? You know. I don't know.
But you know,
is Bosnia any better? Yeah, maybe.
But we had a hell of a time.
No.
That's I think where we got to start talking about that's where we got to talk about individually how we're going to close this chapter for ourselves.
Hey,
because the war's over.
Afghanistan paid for my first Harley, man. I'm fucking pretty happy that tax-free money.
Paid for mine too, man.
That's right. Well, you know what, Brock?
You know,
I would have got you a truck, but you're asking for more than I can give, man. So we had to go with a trike.
Yeah, whatever. It worked out, man. You know, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm violent.
Yeah.
You know,
so
life is good.
Life is.
You know, it's the thing is, you know, we got like, I get the anger about, not having like the Afghan monument or fucking, not putting on a show or, this piddly shit which the government does, but those aren't the things that are going to close the chapter for ourselves and bring peace to us.
No.
No,
You gotta.
It's not that I want to glorify what we've done. I mean, maybe it is a little, not glorify it, but make sure it's visible and it's understood. What I want Canadians to understand, if you're not tracking the geopolitical situation right now, I'm going to say two things. One, the world's never been more unstable than it is now. And two, the Canadian military has never been less ready, not in my fucking time anyway. And I joined in 1988, got out in 2013. Has never been less ready to meet that commitment, which you can read about in the papers all day. These are the facts. So if you think the old adage of, well, we got three borders or oceans and we're safe. No, it doesn't work like that anymore. You're getting cyber attacked. The warfare is completely different now. And now you got real heavy metal warfare going on. And the US, if Trump gets back in, now we're talking politics, he doesn't give a fuck about anybody but his own country. Canada cannot rely on everybody to the South anymore. We have to.
And those are things above our pay grade, man, for somebody else to fucking worry about, bro.
No, I get that, but I want Canadians to think differently, whether you like it or not. If you really,
and that's not going to happen until something catastrophic happens.
No, but I'll tell you what.
You look at the states. Look at the states before 9/11. How much they were shitting on their military. It was fucking the Clinton days, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
And then 9/11 happened, and then all of a sudden, Americans love each other.
You're talking about pendulums, yeah, for a day. Then
and that's what human beings are, Chris. Human beings are pendulums.
Yeah,
and here's the thing is, when something catastrophic will happen, because it will, that's just inevitable. Human beings hate each other. Then the right people will stand up when it happens. Like the right people stood up for Afghanistan.
It's a documentary.
Like the right people. What?
Yeah. There's a doc on YouTube right now called, and it's it's a hard watch. I don't care which side of that shit you're on. It's called 20 Days in Mariupol. And it is hard to watch. And it shows this, the civilian casualty side. If anybody wants to watch that, it's a hard watch, trust me. But have a look at it. And it's it'll show. I want your average Canadian to watch this to show them what the face of fucking warfare looks like.
Yeah, but they're not going to understand it until they actually experience, Chris. You can't hold something against them for people that haven't actually experienced it.
No, I get that, but this is it's more like the collateral. Like it's not the fucking POV you and me getting it on in a fucking grape field in Afghanistan shit. This is like fucking just what happens when massive shelling hits civilian infrastructure and stuff like that. Anyways, I want to give Al a voice here too.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Al, give us your thoughts on where the fuck. What was the point of my topic? where were we going? You've been listening to us. You can speak to whatever right now.
I'm the fluffy part nobody wants to listen to, but
no, I do.
You're talking about the point of view and all that kind of a thing. It's crazy, but I had an Afghanistan veteran come in with his, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, and he said, I'd love to go to war. It doesn't. If we get killed, we can just regenerate. Because he's playing games on television, and it just blew me away that his son actually and his dad had to actually say, "No, son, that's not how it works." So that's part of the problem too. Yeah. I think is a lot of games. So many youth know about history because of games, but they don't quite get what happens in war. But I was just going to touch on, like I say, in the fluffy part. I've talked to a lot of veterans, World War II, and I like to think that, like you guys are saying, you don't know if you're going to get closure. I think Brock had said we won't get closure quite yet until, and I like to think that part of that closure would be sitting, talking, and again, I'm not a veteran. I didn't serve. I give a different perspective and a different outlet for people to talk, and it's a different way for people to talk to somebody who wasn't there but has those dumb questions that need to be asked. For you guys to come forth and talk about where you were, what you didn't, what you seen, kind of a thing. I think it's really important that happens for people to really truly understand. That's why I started this with World War II. I'm a big World War II buff. That's how I started
Yeah.
this. I'm of the age where World War II was my thing. I've talked to a lot of veterans, and a lot of them said once they talked to me, they felt like a weight was lifted off. Now that's different for everybody, but
Yeah.
I like to think it's one way of getting a little bit of closure.
Well, and
Um,
that's that interview thing you got is exactly like people need that. People need to say something they weren't able to say, and hopefully it gets an audience that reaches that audience's ear and it resonates and means something. And that's what you do, and I appreciate that.
Well, again, guys, I know pretty hard topic that you're talking about, and I don't mean to put this fluffy part on it like the interviews, but I think it's an important part of small part of that process for everybody who served and everybody who's seen some shit,
Yeah.
to get off their chest. I'll use this example real quick. World War II vet, but his name was Vic Shea, and I think you guys probably heard this story once or twice, but it's my go-to story because it just hit me. He was a D-Day vet, Vic Shea. He fought alongside my uncles. He was a boxer a lot with my uncle as well.
Oh
And
wow.
he hadn't talked about his time. D-Day veteran. He was with the 1st Canadian Parachute Battalion. It flipped over to the North Nova Scotia Highlanders at some point. And again, the stuff that he saw, you guys, I'm sure, would relate to. But he told me he just downloaded it, dumped it on me, and he hadn't talked about it for 68 years at that point. After he did the interview, um, he said to his caretaker on the way home, "I can forget about it. It's documented." And I got that letter or that phone call, email, whatever it was when I got it, thanking the organization for what we do. But a year later, I got a call from the granddaughter of Vic, and she said, "You know what? We always knew Granddad was he had a soft shell on the inside, but he was soft on the inside, but we had that hard shell we had to break through on the outside, and we with that after that interview, it seemed like you did it, and we've got our Granddad back." That was pretty cool, and that's the least that my organization is doing. I'm freaking happy, man. But to me, and for what I do, it's about honoring you guys through documenting your stories and letting people know what you went through. That's what I do. So
Well, and I appreciate that. I really do, because that's, to me, we were talking. The word closure came up earlier. I'm not looking for closure. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't need that. What I need now, because you can't ratify anything that happened. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant other than educating people on what it is that we do now, or the current serving members do now, what they're potentially going to do, and what they did, so that they have again a voice to support the military, so the militaries understand what it's for. It is an extension of political will. It is the practical application of foreign policy and the defense of the country. So when the Canadian Armed Forces are continuously underfunded, and I'm not blaming Trudeau, every government successively since
Oh, this has been an issue probably since Diefenbaker, man.
yeah, that's actually good, very well said. It's systemic. So it's not shit on the current Liberal government. It's not about that. It is the Canadian Armed Forces, since my time at least, has been chronically underfunded and under-equipped, with spurts of funding and equipment during high op tempo, Afghanistan, whatever it may be, and that's it. And then once it's done, they want to forget. Now all that cool shit we bought back in the mid 2000s is all rusted out, dying a horrible death with no plan to resustain it, and we have no ability to project. And
well, warfare is going in a totally different manner now too.
But that's neither here nor there. Really, that's fine. We ebb and flow with it, right? We're just going back to what I learned in the 80s. Fucking kill Russians. Fine. That heavy metal warfare is back, baby. Okay. At the end of the day, the only way pressure on any given government is by public awareness to understand what its military is, what its military was, and what its military needs to be, and appreciate that. You don't have to be a warmonger. You have to understand it, so that when when you hear all these articles from about how fucked up things are, people just go, oh well, I'm heading to Sobeys, don't care. Like they actually need to care. That's the pressure that hopefully is going to help you get to where it needs to be.
Yeah, but where does caring start when you got regular day life too, Chris? And that's the thing. Unless you're directly affected by it, people just generally don't care.
That's why I want him to watch that documentary, because it'll show you how fast your life can be turned upside down. Because
Chris, I think
they live in a fucking bubble here, man. They live in a bubble and don't get it.
Yes, but it's you can't control what people respond to or anything like that.
No.
And this is my point as the veteran, as the individual. Yeah, would it be great for all these things and stuff like that? For sure. But as an individual, you're just going to drive yourself fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And as an individual, you eventually got to grab the horns yourself and actually take your life into your own hands and realize that it just doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. I agree, Brock. You couldn't have put it better yourself. Yeah, you couldn't have put it better.
You gotta fucking fight VA. You gotta get your benefits that they're owed to you. Yeah, it sucks dick, but that's the system we got.
Yeah.
At one point, the individual veteran themselves has to just take responsibility for their life.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, from a veteran standpoint, Chris, like you and I have kind of talked about this kind of offline a little bit about like some of the support we've got from Veterans Affairs. You hear a lot of terrible press about Veterans Affairs, but like you and I have had pretty positive interactions with Veterans Affairs, right?
I actually have, yeah.
Yeah, me too. How about you, Brock? How have your interactions with Veterans Affairs been overall?
I'm going on 13 years and still not even DEC, bro.
Jesus. Okay, well,
and I'm missing parts.
Yeah, fair enough. Like you're missing like obvious parts, like not like the rest of us, right? Like but
whatever.
Yeah, no, but I guess what I'm saying is, but to go along with what you're saying though, Brock, is like no one's going to hand. I mean, the government sucks, and no one's going to hand you anything if you're not willing to fucking fight for it. Well, you're probably not going to get anything. And I compare it to that fucking that guy back in the day, that guy in battalion who bitched and complained about everything, but he wasn't willing to kind of sort out his own personal admin, and he thought it was
and it is a bit of that, and it's also like actually sucking up and doing your mental health appointments, doing your appointments, eating right, getting into a schedule, working out, getting that warrior hard body again.
We're definitely pivoting. We're definitely pivoting conversations.
Okay.
And we will do this again. And Brock will have you back to have that conversation. Sure. But we're gonna wrap this shit up because it's been an hour and the fucking puck is dropping soon. Oilers versus Washington.
Oh, we gotta close that up then for sure.
We gotta close that up. So I want to thank first of all, thank you everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Al Cameron from Veterans Voices Canada for jumping on. Al, you're always welcome, and I will be in touch with you to talk about future endeavors. Yeah. So thank you, Al. You can just sit tight if you want. I want to thank Mr. Brock Blaszczyk for jumping in. He wants to.
Thanks for having me on the show, Chris.
You're always welcome, man. We got more stuff coming up, so thanks for being on, bro, and we will talk soon. Morgan Warren, as always, my co-host. Thanks for jumping in. So I'm going to punch this thing out. Thanks for everybody for watching. I got a few sponsors I need to take care of here. They haven't done this in a while. First of all, thank you, Mr. Positive Mike, for your beer. I'm just about out, but I do have this lovely stout as we approach St. Patrick's Day. It wasn't bad. Didn't rot my guts out. Positive Mike's Brewing. You can get the beer. You can get the gear. I can get the beer. So check them out on the socials. I want to also thank the Veteran Farmer, alternatives to conventional medicine. They're a big supporter of veterans. They'll help you out with your Veterans Affairs stuffs, and they will get you on alternative stuff to shitty ass drugs that rot your guts out. A little bit of weed doesn't kill you once in a while. We've also got my good friends at Lakeside Farmstead, Mr. Jeff None and his family up there make the best beef in Alberta, in my personal opinion. I know how to cook. And they got great dairy products. So if you're in the local area and you can get in some of the local shops in Edmonton, check out Lakeside Farmstead, just north of Edmonton. Oh, Revolution Radio Canada, my alter ego thing that I do. I have a show called The Mixtape with Army Chris every Thursday and Saturday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night, you're going to hear my version of a St. Patrick's Day Irish mix. So check that out. You can hear it Saturday. RevolutionRadio.live. Check it out. Your alternative to shitty ass mainstream radio, which is going in the toilet. So there you have it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm so sorry I didn't get to the text line. It's kind of hard to like run everything and then read what's going on. But thanks for everybody that listened in or were tuned in tonight, and those that are going to listen later on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We will do this. We're going to be moving this to Tuesday nights. I have to move it to Tuesday nights. It'll be in a couple weeks because I'm going to Newfoundland next week, baby, and I can't wait for that. But we'll have another show, and it was good to have those guys on. So I'm going to punch this shit out of here. Thank you guys for very much. Until next time, I am out.